please remain standing for a moment of silence for our sick, handicapped, military personnel recently departed of our community. Thank you.
Roll call, please. Mr. Verducci.
Here.
Mr. Gallarducci.
Here.
Ms. Cimaroli. Here. Mr. Ferry. Here. Mr. Franchik.
Here.
Mr. Henderson.
Here.
Mr. Sarasik.
Here.
Mayor Copeland. Here. Solicitor McDermott.
Here.
Engineer Highland.
Here.
Sergeant James.
Here.
Chief Castain.
Here.
And Chief Miller.
Here. First, Mr. Zuzzo. If you could, just for the record, if you could state your name and address, please.
My name is Mark Dozzo. I live at 1513 Missouri Avenue. President Verducci, council members, I have a booklet for you. The information I'm going to go over tonight very quickly. You'll have the supporting documentation. I have your booklets open to page 1, which is under page 1, under tab 1. You have the zoning map of Bridgeville. I've drawn an arrow up from lot 5 on Missouri Avenue to speak about that. As you flip over to page 2, this plan was recorded in 1956 by John Witzel. John Witzel built all the homes on this land, and he also owned all the lots. He did not build on lots 4, 5, 6, and 7. And as you flip over to page 3, the reason was Duquesne Light, through eminent domain, acquired a right-of-way across those lots. Now, John Witzel was paid for this right-of-way, but it came at a steep cost. He was unable to build homes on the lots, and as you flip to page 4, the right-of-way travels with the properties forever, and Duquesne Light can come onto the property anytime they want with their equipment, night or day. They will also cut down any tree that you plant on the lot. So with all those restrictions, John Witzel was unable to sell those lots until 21 years later, as you turn to page 5, John Witzel sold to Don Delach lots 5, 6, and 7 for $4,000. Now, Don Delach lived on Missouri Avenue, and he only paid a little over $1,000 per lot. The reason was he had a safe area for his children to play. But after owning the lots for about 20 years, he put them up for sale. Again, there were no buyers because of the restrictions, until as you flip to page 6, Bill Dawson came along. Now, Bill Dawson bought only lot 5, and he paid $10,000 for just one lot. As you see in the middle of the page, it's subject to the right-of-way by Duquesne Light. I'd also point out to council at the top of the page on the mailback, Bill Dawson does not live on Missouri Avenue, and he does not live in Bridgeville. As you flip to page 7, I think it's important for council to realize that lot 5 is held in an irrevocable trust, and based on the county's assessment, you only receive $120 per year in taxes. Now, under tab 8, I want you to visualize the land that I'm speaking about. I've highlighted where lot 5 is on Missouri Avenue. Right behind there in Upper St. Clair, Bill Dawson owns a vacant lot, and then under the word municipality on page 8, you'll see there's a house there. These two pieces of property in Upper St. Clair were owned by Roy Roston. Now, I can tell council, Roy Roston never came to Missouri Avenue to use lot 5 as a road or a driveway to access his vacant lot. Similarly, Delach and Witzel, who owned lot 5 on Missouri Avenue, never used it as a road or a driveway to enter the parcels in Upper St. Clair. Two other things. Bill Dawson bought the properties in Upper St. Clair in 2003. He did not buy the lot 5 on Missouri Avenue until 2004 in September. You cannot drive across lot 5, across the vacant lot, into the house. The way you get to the house in the driveway, if you flip to page 9, there is a private bridge on McLaughlin Run Road that leads to the house. I would request that council drive past McLaughlin Run Road so that you can see how this is set up. The house is in a hillside, and there is no possible way to drive to the vacant lot up above. So, Bill Dawson mentioned he has a potential buyer for his lots in Upper St. Clair that would build 3 homes on those lots. If you flip to page 10, a bridge would have to be built for a public right-of-way. PennDOT tells us they're going to place a bridge over McLaughlin Run Road. And you can see at the bottom of the page what the cost would be. Any developer would have to divide that cost by 3, and I just don't think that would be possible to work out money-wise. As you flip over to page 11, the reason it is so expensive to build a bridge down there, it's in a 100-year flood zone. And we know this because of what's happened in McLaughlin Park. If you start on McLaughlin Run Road towards the Bridgeville boundary line and drive up towards Dawson's house, you will see there are no homes, no businesses, no bridges. There's no access to that side of the road. Likewise, from Dawson's house up to the top of the page, all the parcels that are owned in Upper St. Clair have no access. Under tab 3, back up on Missouri Avenue, behind where I live, is a lot owned by Jeff Thomas. That's adjacent to Bill Dawson's lot. Jeff Thomas also owns the conservation lot in Bridgeville and the lot next to that. Council should realize Jeff Thomas is a home builder. He has built a lot of homes in Upper St. Clair, but he has never developed these 3 lots. In fact, you would consider him a distressed seller because he's had the lots up for sale for over 10 years. If you flip over to page 13, last year, surveyors were up on Missouri Avenue. They said they were surveying the Thomas property for Northwest Land, and that Northwest Land, if they got their plans approved by Bridgeville and Upper St. Clair, would build townhouses across Thomas's property. You can see there is only one entrance into the plan. As you come across McLaughlin Run Road over a bridge, you'd make a right into the conservation zone land. I point out to you, there are no townhouses on this drawing because Bridgeville's crystal clear. In the conservation zone area, there are only 5 land uses permitted by right and 2 conditional uses. You were silent on a road crossing that parcel road before last month's amendments to the zoning ordinances. I think that puts council in a much stronger position because last year, this developer was denied his application by Bridgeville. If he comes back under conditional use, that would go to the planning commission and they would only make a recommendation to you. You would have to vote whether to approve or deny that application. Now one thing, Upper St. Clair limits the intensity of a development with only one entrance. Think of Main Street in Bridgeville. The developer there for Bender's Estate saw that Bridgeville was ambivalent if you'd open Main Street to him. So he hired Jonathan Kamen, an attorney, to come in and file a writ of mandamus to force Bridgeville to open that second entrance and therefore was able to build a lot more homes. Developers will use the courts. As you flip over to page 15, Northwest Land, these are the people that sent surveyors up to Missouri Avenue. On page 14, I have circled the case number because on page 15, Northwest Land did not put the case number on their case. They are the people that sent surveyors up to Missouri Avenue, and they are asking the court on page 16 to force North Fayette to give them an easement by necessity because the parcel's landlocked. On page 17, they show you the reasons for it being landlocked and one of the requests. I would suggest to you that these reasons could be used very easily on Bill Dawson's property. Under tab 4, I wanted to talk to you quickly about zoning in Upper St. Clair. Behind Missouri Avenue, you can see there are 2 different colors of zoning. On page 19, Bill Dawson's property is zoned R-LI, that's Low Intensity Residential District. The purpose here is to preserve steep slopes, floodplains, and other sensitive natural areas. As you can see in the permitted uses by rights, townhouses are not there. In the conditional use, single-family homes are there. However, Upper St. Clair understands the difficulties in developing steep slope properties. They require a minimum of 1 acre lot size for a home in this zone. As you go to page 20 and you look, you can see how large Bill Dawson's lot is, but only a small number of homes will be able to build. I want you to think about the topography of the properties. Thomas's property behind me was a lot that was farmed by the Ostock family. It's relatively flat. Upper St. Clair will allow townhouses on there. But the problem is there's no access to this land. As you drive on Missouri Avenue up toward Lot 5, you will notice, and come up and drive on Missouri Avenue, you go up a hill and then downhill on Missouri Avenue towards Romano Drive. Bill Dawson's lot follows that topography. A few years after he bought the lot, he was cutting trees on Lower Missouri. A resident there was concerned because there had been land movement in that area before. She went to Birchville. Birchville said, it's in Upper St. Clair. And this is true. There is nothing you can do in Upper St. Clair. You only control Lot 5. And I think this is very important because as you flip over to page 21, I've enclosed for you the quadrangle map for Bridgeville. The red line is Missouri Avenue. Behind Missouri Avenue, there are areas that are very susceptible to landslides. You have no control over Upper St. Clair. What about the developer? Who's going to monitor him for following regulations? On page 22, I've given you a case that I hope you will read after tonight's meeting. On page 27 under tab 5, I want to talk to you very quickly about parcels that have no buyers. At the top of the page, I've outlined in green a parcel next to Bill Dawson's house. At the bottom of the page next to the lot, I've outlined another parcel in green. The first parcel is owned by Matilda Ostock Barton. She is no longer with us, and at the bottom of the page, you can see taxes are unpaid. There's no buyers. As you go to page 29, that parcel is owned by Wilmer Engel and Cyrus Holden. You might recognize those names because my area is often called Wilhelm Acres after these two gentlemen. They're long gone. No taxes are paid, no buyers. I want to bring you back up to Missouri Avenue and close out on page 30. When John Whistle built a house on Lot 3, the owner of that property bought Lot 4 next to him because he said to John, I understand the right of way, but I want to plant grass and keep the property nice next to me. We can all understand that. Allegheny County understands the right of way and what it does to property values. Lot 4 is valued at only $3,800. That's the assessment. I would suggest to you that's the same size and shape as Bill Dawson's Lot 5. So what I'm saying is, if Bill Dawson put Lot 5 up for sale on its own, I think he'd have a difficult time in finding a buyer. It took John Whistle 21 years to sell that same lot. However, Bill Dawson has taken Lot 5, combined it with the two parcels in Upper St. Clair, put them under one deed, and put them in a trust. If you flip over to my cover page, on the index, I've gone through everything I talked about tonight. At the bottom of the page, I've highlighted. Bridgeville's ambivalence resulted in the opening of Main Street. Drivable access over Lot 5 would harm property values and the character of Missouri Avenue. No road is in the recorded plan. No easement is in a deed, and no building permit for a driveway crossing municipal lines into Upper St. Clair was ever issued. So the amendments that you passed last month only clarify these issues. This is my request for council tonight. Make public the application and registration of nonconformity for Lot 5. Bridgeville residents are entitled to know the nonconforming use grandfathered. What does Dawson's attorney, Acosta, in parentheses I put, ask yourself, who stands in Dawson's shoes for the trust if Dawson becomes incapacitated? So what does his attorney believe is a non-conforming use grandfathered on Lot 5? And finally, do all parties agree with Bridgeville's definition of a driveway? To support that information, behind your index page is pages on non-conformity and registration and Bridgeville's definition of a driveway. I'd ask if council has any questions or comments for me.
It's well done. Thank you for putting it together. Anybody have any questions? Any comments? Nice job. Thank you very much for doing that. Appreciate it. Okay, Justin Thomas.
That's what I thought I'd follow up. My notes are on my phone. So I'm here on a concern, recent events, current events in our national landscape over the last 3 weeks, and how the seizures of funding is going to trickle down to Bridgeville. I understand that a lot of the money and grants that we get are state, but does that money ultimately come from federal? And what will it affect, such as highway fund road repairs, flood mitigation, because that is definitely federally funded through the USA's Corps of Engineers, our pipe replacements, our sanitary sewers, and any other that infrastructure that's being fixed. Our fire department, our police department, and our EMS, are they affected? Because these cuts are being seen in every aspect of our life. It's just wondering if there's anything out there. The library, that's another one we're concerned about. It's hard to keep track, that's their intention, of everything that's being stopped. How's that going to affect our community down at this level? Because this is what matters the most. The borough's done an amazing job of progressing forward over the last few years, the active transportation plan, the comprehensive plan. We're setting ourselves up for the future, and I know this is a local issue, but we have to keep pushing up against our senators and our congressmen, who, one of which is completely out of touch. He lives in Connecticut, and doesn't answer his phone or anything. At least Fetterman answered, Summer Lee, and she's been responsive as well. But is there a way for us to push up? Because this is the country of the people, for the people, by the people, and objectively, it doesn't feel that way right now.
Have you seen anything from the application?
We haven't.
Yeah.
Nothing's coming down, but is there something like politically? I know people are partisan. I don't know how partisan politics works. I'm not allowed to be a participant in it. Such as pushing Devlin to push McCormick to push, or Kulik can push Fetterman. And, is there a way from the groundswell? Because it just seems that protection of the people, looking out for the people, has been lost. Our voices are not heard.
Many of your other municipalities?
No, there's been no information on any of the grants that are at the level 1.0.
It's a good question.
I'm just trying to figure out where the effect is next.
We've had discussions in the office, in fact, we had one today, and there's no information, and most of these small grants aren't the ones that are targeted, so for what we know, there's nothing affecting them now. With everything going on, things like FEMA grants, they may change just because, let's be honest, North Carolina's getting pummeled,
Right.
California's getting pummeled.
Right, and they deserve that. Yeah.
I have a Paul Harris Rotary dinner with Devlin in a week or two. It's a good question. I'll talk to him about it.
His obvious response is we're at the state level. I was like, yes, but, we are being affected, and where does it trickle down?
Keep our ears open. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate your ears.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
You sure?
Does anybody really, when we say, how much did we get for that flood mitigation, the first plan, $1 million?
That was a state grant, $1 million.
That was a state. So that's coming out of the state coffers.
Correct. And then
Okay.
there's a second one from FEMA, which is 5.3.
Okay,
And then there's a federal earmark, and that's 750,000.
okay, so is this money in some bank somewhere that is accessible to us, or is it has to be funded from further up?
Both. When you look at the earmark, that was a line item within the federal budget. That's how that was appropriated. The 5.3 is a FEMA grant that was awarded under 2 cycles ago that's under environmental and their historical reviews.
So
So that's what it
it's
is.
been approved.
So we're told. No,
Yeah,
can't
I
take
mean-
away,
I mean,
I don't know. You know.
Rules aren't being followed,
Yeah.
currently, so,
Yeah,
That's it.
as the judges say.
But there isn't like a check in our hand.
Right.
None of these grants work, like they give you a check. Most, I would say all of them have been, the borough funds the money and we get reimbursed. That's how they work.
Yeah, so we put up front, you said we get it first, we pay, and then they answer back with those grants. We don't pull the trigger until we know those grants are met.
So we were gonna be like left holding the bill if they decide that,
We wouldn't go to bid.
unless you knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until we,
There's contracts and everything that's signed before we start the work.
So for this flood, first phase of flood mitigation, how much, do we know how much cumulative money the borough has spent getting our permits and so forth? Do we have an idea as to how much?
Yes, and I couldn't tell you exactly today, but if you remember last year, we spent, in excess of $140,000 on engineering to secure those permits. We were methodical not to use the grant drawdowns because we don't know what construction values are gonna be. And, think of it this way, everything's going up, and, you're stuck in a bureaucratic system that really drags things out and it just delays what costs are. So, I made the recommendation to you guys is that the grant does allow us to seek reimbursement for the engineering. But I said, well, let's pull the fort to see if these bids are within our means. And if they are within our means, then we can get the reimbursement. Otherwise, let's pay for the engineering up front. So that's where that conversation comes about.
And the permits, once they're approved, because we have all the permits, correct? How long are they good for?
105 permits are good for 3 to 5 years, depending on how the permit is worded.
Okay, great.
And we check every week, we check with FEMA, say, hey, can we go, can we go, can we go? And it's, no, we're in review, we're in review.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
thanks, Jesse.
Rich? Rich, will you state your name and the great street that you live on?
Hi, my name is Rich Poplawski. I live on the Drake Street of Elm Street in Bridgeville. I live on there. I think it's pretty great. Some of you may see my house for Halloween. I go pretty far out for that. But I'm here to talk a little bit about Chartiers Valley School District. I have 2 kids in the school district. And I think a lot of people know that they're trying to subcontract our drivers. I've been going to lots of board meetings. I've been going to Senator Devlin's office, Anita Kolik's office, Candizi's office, talking to everyone I can. If they subcontract, they will lose 65 jobs. 9 of those employees are in Bridgeville. There are 10 separate bus routes that go through Bridgeville by Chartiers Valley. And I don't know if you remember, on February 11th and February 21st, there were threats made against the school, a boy and his girlfriend and something like that. They had to cancel school. As a parent, I got a call canceling the school at about 11 o'clock at night. My wife is a driver for Chartiers Valley. She got an email much earlier than that with a be on the lookout, with a photo and everything of this person they were looking for, using our own drivers as a security force in the community, knowing the community, living in the community. And now, this is what's going to happen. I think it's really going to detract from our community, not having a local or a Chartiers Valley owned and operated bus system. My kids have had the same driver forever. They care about the kids. I see drivers and other people from different communities when at baseball games or other events, and I think it's really sad what's going on. At a lot of the board meetings, I don't know what's going on, but it appears that they're taking their fiduciary responsibility more than they are the safety of the kids and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not the best speaker. I'm just supportive of what's going on here. I know recently there's been a security shack that was put up outside our transportation department. I know that was not in Bridgeville, but the Bridgeville kids see it, every day, and I've had questions about it. And I guess I'm just looking for any support, any participation. Anyone would like to help speak at the board meeting tomorrow night at 6:30. Make calls to anyone you know if you're on our side. I mean, I don't think the drivers are asking for too much, and I think they're really doing a disservice to this community and all the communities that go to Chartiers Valley. And I guess that's all I really have to say. If there's anything you can do to help, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Rich. Pat?
Hello and thank you. So, I walk down here. Like many of you, I walk, and like many of you, I drive. And tonight on the agenda is what I consider to be a very thoughtful plan to enhance the safety of the crosswalk at the Dairy Delight on Bower Hill Road. I rise to speak about what we as residents and what we as individuals can do to make our lives safer. Okay? When we're driving, we need to pay attention. When we're walking, we also need to be reasonable and pay attention as well. You know? I walk down here, and I walk down here in this jacket. As I was walking across the street, I was thinking to myself, nobody's going to see me. If I don't see that car coming, it's not going to see me. I'm in a dark jacket. It's dark. It's sort of drizzly. And I'm crossing over to the Borough Building. There's no crosswalk here, but you know what? Those white lines, and even the blinking lines that we get for 90 grand, even those blinking signs, they're not going to light me up. And I'm here to speak to say to all of us, both the driver and the pedestrian in us, that we need to be careful, that we should dress reflectively, that we should walk attentively, and that we should drive defensively. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Okay. We'll start with the business at hand. Motion to approve the January 13th, 2025 regular meeting minutes as submitted. So second. Bruce and Jason, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. A motion to approve the February 2025 bill list. Bruce? Justine, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to approve February 14th, 21st, 28th, and March 7th payrolls.
No motion.
Shane and Jason, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to adopt resolution number 2025-1, a resolution of the Borough of Bridgeville authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for the Chartiers Park Field Lighting Project.
I'll make that motion.
Shane,
I'll second that.
Jason, any questions?
Why is this on the agenda again? Or is this,
It's another grant.
okay,
We're applying for many grants that were funded.
Swing in the bat, try to hit the ball.
We applied, this is our third, we applied for state local sheriff, that's a state gaming grant, that was in the fall. We won't know till late summer if that's awarded. We applied late last autumn for a county gaming grant, and that wasn't selected. This is a state parks grant, so the park grant that we got to upgrade the shelter at Chartiers and the playgrounds. This is that same funding source.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the execution of the sculpture loan agreement for a third-party sculpture by and between Borough of Bridgeville and Seward Johnson Ltr. Incorporated for the lease of outdoors sculptures to be part of the 2025-26 Public Art Bridgeville Exhibition.
So moved.
Bill
second.
and Justine, any questions? All in favor?
One question.
Yes, sir.
So how many sculptures do we have? Can you name all?
I can't.
For 2025?
I know where
Yeah, how many will we have? I mean, is this is just renewing the contract, basically?
For the Seward Johnsons, yes. Just for the Seward Johnsons.
Okay. They really need, I mean, if people come through town, they love them.
And have they decided which ones yet, Joe?
Oh,
I was looking.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, yeah.
Did you guys pick,
Well,
ones yet?
the ladies on the bench are going to stay. We weren't gonna keep one there this year, but developers like it so much, they've agreed to keep the ladies on the bench by LaBelle Bean. And then we've decided to keep the postman and give them another chance to get graffitied in front of the post office. And then we have a new one coming to Triangle Park, so we'll have 3.
Good.
Someone was down there today taking photos. Is it leaving soon, that Triangle Park one? Are we adding to?
We're adding.
All right.
Well, there were ones that we're trading out, you know. Old ones go out, new ones come in. And we determine how many we have based on the donations that we receive.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the execution of a engagement letter by and between the Borough of Bridgeville and Acusure Mid-Atlantic Partners Insurance Services for actuarial service for the police pension plan between January 1st of 25 to December 31st of 28. So moved. Bill and Bruce, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to appoint Ms. Karen Taylor to the Bridgeville Civil Service Commission with a term that will expire the first Monday of January 2026.
I'll make a motion.
Justine
I'll second.
and Jason, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome, Ms. Taylor. We're excited to have you join. A motion to authorize disbursement of $103,750 to Independent Enterprises, Inc. for partial payment number 1/final for the Bluff Street Extension Slope Stabilization and Retaining Wall Improvements Project. Bruce? Jane? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the disbursement of $163,883.20 to Jet Jack Incorporated for partial payment number 2 and final, and authorization or authorized execution of change order number 1/final that decreased the contract amount by $38,315 to reflect actual in-place fuel quantities for the Area 4 sanitary sewer lining program. Bruce? Any questions?
Can you repeat that?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. When we get to save some money. A motion to approve the design of the Bower Hill Road pedestrian improvements project and direct the borough manager to apply for grant funding to implement the plan. Note, the plan has been prepared by the borough engineer and be reviewed by the Bridgeville Planning Commission.
So moved.
Bill and Bruce, any questions?
There's a lot of detail in this grant, so hopefully we'll get funded. And, but we've got an opportunity to take a look at what, see what else is out there. Use another location, but,
That's a good first step. All in favor? Opposed?
All right.
Motion carried. Didn't mean to say that. A motion to accept and pay any commission due January 2025 real estate tax collector report. Jane?
Second.
Justine? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to acknowledge receipt of the January 2025 treasurer's report. Bruce?
second.
And Jason, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, a motion to accept all submitted January 2025 official reports.
So moved.
Bill
Second.
and Bruce, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to take a little break here. Bruce, administration.
No, I have no report.
Okay, thank you.
I-
Just so I can get my. All right, As far as finance, really nothing to report other than we applied for those grants that we mentioned. The audit is underway. It's with Mr. Turnley again, correct? So that'll be interesting to hear when he comes back with that. Does a nice job of reporting it. Any questions for finance? Parks and Rec, Shane.
Jason, Justine, and myself checked out the parks last month, did a little drive around. We're gonna look at doing something, a reopening of Cook School Park, once the weather warms up. I think we're thinking May timeframe right now, but more to come in March, we'll report that. Baseball and softball registration is open right now at the parks. So if you got a young child looking to sign up, we have ages 3 and up. We're hoping to have a 12U team, and as long as these kids are out playing. So if you got any 12-year-olds or, they want to play, have them sign up. It's on bridgevilleball.com, and outside of that, looking for the spring to come here and we can get the parks cleaned up and ready to go.
Any questions for Shane?
Can I ask something?
Sure.
Shane, do you know when the big shelter down at Chartiers will be available? I mean, if we wanted to rent it, we have to start on the 3rd of March.
Yeah,
Or the
March.
beginning of March for rentals.
I don't know right now if they have groundbreaking.
No,
Set?
we meet with the DCNR, it's the funding agency, later this week, so they'll let us know if we can proceed or not with the project. But we'll have a better answer later this month on how that works, because it's gonna have us block out Shelter 1 for a while.
Yeah.
We were hoping to have it so that we can have this open by middle summer at the latest, but we won't know until the DCNR gives us a better indication later this week.
Yeah, I mean, really, until we get an update right now, I don't know how long the window is for when they do all that work too.
I don't know, but that shouldn't take very long.
Doesn't take too long now, just make concrete stuff. So that's a little on the
New
side.
electric
It's like
and
Cure,
doors.
yeah.
More to come next month, probably. We'll have a better understanding.
Yeah, we really should have, we're hoping that we have some type of plan outlined from the DCNR and maybe a contractor on the agenda next month.
Thank you.
But in regards to that, the park shelter is open for residents on March 3rd.
Yes.
So it's coming up before our next meeting, and then non-residents is the 15th, but I think it takes it to the following Monday, so it's like the 17th.
Somewhat to consider how long out we can actually rent Pavilion 1.
Yeah.
Once we know the construction schedule, so probably that'll be a good question for planning graduation parties.
Yeah, so right now, it's like, we have it blocked until we figure out what this date is.
But you also have Pavilion 2 back there, which is
Okay.
nice.
And Cook.
And McLaughlin.
And McLaughlin.
McLaughlin's actually pretty nice. You got a little waterfall there.
I have a question.
Man, you over there.
Do you consider the empty lots on Baldwin Street, what are they, empty lots? I mean, what are they? I mean, they're, yes,
Municipal properties, essentially.
okay, so we're not calling them a,
Parklet? Like that one at that we did the little bench and the trees,
Yeah.
like it's,
Yeah.
that would be considered a parklet.
yeah, okay.
Green space.
I mean, because empty lots get, it's more than an empty, lot. It will be more than an empty lot, so. Okay.
Like when I know, like, when we apply for the Tree Vitalize applications and we indicate them as the sites, I refer to them as just municipal property,
Okay.
or lots, but we don't wanna call them a flood lot, you know?
Right.
And I know like the planning commission did a good job of identifying, hey, this one's up to the butterfly card.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, Public Works, Jason.
Couple quick things, guys have been doing winter maintenance on the roads and sidewalks, so trying to keep up with the go. Been doing a phenomenal job, everyone's been commenting how well they've been doing even last month, and now continue up to the January. Been doing some park maintenance, taking some Christmas decorations down, finally, because of that opportunity, and equipment maintenance on all the equipment and some of the police cars.
Any questions for Jason? Public Safety, Bill.
Jeff?
Yes.
Just a question. Is there any way they could paint reflective paint, where you turn from Washington Avenue onto Bar Hill Road? If you're coming from Collier into town and you're turning left on that light, when it's dark or rainy or something, it's real hard to see the curb.
I know what you mean.
When
I
you're
mean,
making that
almost
left
like a
turn.
turning line, when you're coming up, the lights in your eyes, I don't know.
We allowed to do that, it's a state road.
We don't really have reflective paint, it's just chalk paint, yellow or white. I know that the curb used to be painted yellow up on the corner, like indicating. Yeah, on the corner, but it indicates like
It's painted by-
no marking. But I never heard of an issue where people are going off the road there or anything.
It's tough, yeah, when you're turning.
It's tough to see, it's dark here.
It's black, not ours. So the other paint's been stuck up with the powder.
Or James, do you have any comments about that?
I haven't really noticed that it's been an issue. We haven't had any cars hit the curb up there or anything like that, so.
Do you know every time they hit the curb? Just a little like, I'm not being sarcastic.
You're talking right here at
Yeah,
the
by
Power Hill,
Brenlow.
the curb that comes down from Brenlow?
Yes, but if you're turning from the other direction on there, and, you know, sometimes you just can't tell where that turn starts and finishes.
I understand that.
Even a little reflector
We've
that
never-
they put along the roads.
Yeah, I don't know what things. I'll talk to Jim more about it. I mean, about something else, I'll talk to him.
Okay, thank you. All right, Jason, anything else, or Bill, anything?
The only thing I can bring up is thank Joe for pushing the gas company up on our street. There's leaks up there, I reported on last month, and they expeditiously came up and fixed those leaks out on the street there. So appreciate what you did, and appreciate the chief of the fire department offering up his services to all the residents up there. There were a lot of folks that were pretty concerned, so appreciate that. That's all I have, Jim.
Okay, any questions for Bill? Mr. Ferry, you get 2 minutes. That's probably all that you can talk.
All right, our last meeting at the COG was a very cold night, so it was very sparsely attended. So a lot of the issues were pushed off to the upcoming month, so I don't have anything new to address.
But I'm sure Mr. Colosimo is very happy that you showed up at the meeting.
I was there and I caught Joe, so I will mention I did ask for extra credit for Bridgeville, so we're getting out under the table.
Oh, that's good. All right. Good. Any questions for Jason? Mayor Copeland?
I have a letter. It says, "Good day, Madam Mayoress Copeland. Enclosed you will find a $120 donation for the 5-Star Park McLaughlin Run. My name is Mary Lynn Spazok, resident of Upper St. Clair. Me, my daughter Jessica, also an Upper St. Clair resident, and her rescue pup Chloe visit McLaughlin Run almost daily, even in frigid, snowy weather. It is a true gem. Enclosed as well is a photo card with Jessica and Chloe on the front. I'm in the pink on the back. Mayoress Copeland, thanks again to you and maintenance staff for McLaughlin Run Park. Please recognize them as they are greatly appreciated, a 5-star staff to be very proud of. Take care, stay safe, God bless. Respectfully, Mary Lynn Spazek."
That's pretty cool.
And the check is turned over to our borough manager. I've run into her a couple of times in the park when I was walking out. She's a very nice lady, and she does love our park. Lastly, this is Black History Month, and to my surprise, all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada, sent to me through our Anne Marie Parisi from Marshall Pappert. Apparently he's looked at my page and seen that I have been collecting quarters of African Americans and also of women, and he sent me 3 coins, 1 Tuskegee Airman and 2 Frederick Douglass, 75 cents from him. So politicians are supposed to be transparent, so I'm accepting this. Thank you, and hope everyone has a happy Valentine's.
That's awesome.
I think we should thank Marshall too.
Yeah. All right, any questions for the mayor? Thank you. Sergeant James, Police Department.
You have my monthly report. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions? Okay, Solicitor McDermott.
Yeah, likewise, I'm happy to answer any questions in addition to my brief.
Any questions from Paul? All right, John, you're not going to say that. Okay. Borough Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I provided a copy of our engineer's report, with a few updates for the general public. DEP issued their draft general permit for MS4 permits. LSZ is in the process of digesting that permit, and hopefully for next month we'll have kind of an outline for everybody what it's going to mean. There's a lot changing in the permit conditions, so it's going to be a fun ride for the next five years. I anticipate the permits will have to get renewed next year. They keep extending. Next year, I think they're going to make us do the permit. The Station Street ADA ramps and the 2025 road program are under design, so we get those moving, get ready to go out to bid. As we mentioned, we're working with the DCNR and Joe to get the Pavilion project underway. Gregg Avenue stairs, the contractor informed us that they are planning to start the end of this month. They delayed because the weather was so bad in January and so cold, they really didn't want to try to do concrete work in it, especially when it was minus 17 degrees. And we already talked about the Bower Hill Road pedestrian project. So I think that's everything from my report right now.
Any questions for John? Yes, John.
Liberty Street, the settlement. I know you put in here, you turned over issue for review back in October. Can you provide any updates there? I only asked because a resident up on Liberty, I just saw them today in passing. I didn't have any time to look at anything, but when I saw it in your report, I said I'd ask tonight.
So there's two sections there. What we're looking to do with the road program is to do a,
Yeah, it's included in the road program.
I apologize for a minute. We're going to do an undercut, probably about 2 feet undercut, and try to get in some concrete material and then repave it. It's not a guarantee. We may end up having to do, especially the upper one, may have to get a geotech in there to review, because it could be a global movement going on that we just can't necessarily see. So we'll at least try to get this stopgap and fix it so that we can at least hold up for a little while longer.
Okay.
And see if it, and determine if it is a global movement.
Gotcha. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll read it.
Okay. Any questions? Any other questions from John?
Joe, can I just ask
Sure.
briefly about Chartier Street widening and the slope stabilization? I understand that's been delayed again.
That's what we revised, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much all
We
that
don't
we
get any
received.
updates.
Yeah, they didn't get any specifics with us. Okay. And Fire Chief Ray Costain, glad to see you're doing well.
Me too, thank you. Thank you, Council President. We finished 2024 with a total of 413 calls with an average dispatch to on-scene time of 6 minutes and 24 seconds. For the month of January, we've had a total of 47 calls. That being said, we have also, I want to thank Council and the Mayor and our taxpayers for their assistance. We have got our new air packs in service. Training was completed the whole month of January. The proficiencies were done at the last drill night, which was last Thursday, and they're placed in service. We couldn't have done that without you guys. Thank you so much. And lastly, Cash Bash is back. We have not had a Cash Bash since, obviously, COVID. This year, it will be on Saturday, May 3rd. Tickets are available now, so we look forward to seeing you guys back at Cash Bash. Thank you, that's all I have.
It's a good community event, nice to see, nice to hear.
We are, if I may, I apologize. Every year, it always falls on the Kentucky Derby, so we're kind of merging some fun things with Kentucky Derby into the Cash Bash as well this year.
Good. Any questions for Ray? All right, Southbridge, Dan Miller.
Thank you. I promised some fun facts, so I'm going to do a year in review. We did provide our January report, which did have the 2024 highlights. We responded to 1,270 calls in the borough in 2024. And in 2023, we had 951, so our increase was 34% in response to the borough. So we got busy last year. We also had 5,296 calls system-wide between all our districts, which is a 9% increase from 2023. So it was a busy year. Some other fun facts, the average ambulance bill for 2024 was $1,150. And this is a great business model, so you love this. The average we collect on that is $473. So for every ambulance bill that we send out, we only collect 42% of that. Not real good. So we appreciate the borough's support. We know that they're always been a strong supporter of Southbridge and EMS, and they're currently at a 5.42 per capita donation, raising it from 4.38 last year. So we really appreciate the fact that you're helping us out, because obviously by the numbers, it's a poor business model, and every little bit helps. So coming in 2025, we have secured a grant for $10,000 to put video laryngoscopes on all our trucks. What that is, a tool that allows our paramedics to kind of manage difficult airways so that they can look directly down in someone's throat. You know, we do advanced airways with tubes down people's throats. So it's a high-tech tool to kind of get down there and do a better job with that. We also, as part of that grant, will purchase another automated cardiac compression device at $9,000. This device was displayed on the day in the Avenue. It's the device that is the mechanical CPR device that performs non-stop CPR and is very efficient at what it does, because it's not old like I am and wears out. So if we get one more device, we'll actually have one on every truck. So that we're headed in a good direction. Also to bring up is our membership drive will be coming out late February, early March. So we would, obviously appreciate the community support. You see our numbers and how that works. So when we do our donation drive and send out memberships, we would appreciate the community support in that drive. That's all I have. Thank you.
Well said, Dan.
Quick question. What covers the 58%? You just take it?
We just eat it. Yep. We cut our staff. We pet corn. We do what we can to stay within budget.
Thanks, Dan. So that's a good reason to answer to their solicitation on the donation. Dan, speaking of, we talked last month with the Rotary, and we still need to talk about that.
Sure.
Because I have some answers for you.
Okay.
Okay, any questions for Dan? Historical Society.
Yeah, we're in the midst of membership renewal, and so far we've sent out our reminders to the corporate sponsors. We've been getting answers back every day. Next, we'll start out with reminders to our regular membership that haven't paid maybe for 23, 24, and 25. Hoping to get those back into an active status again too. And there's some applications on the table. Our next program is Sunday, February 23rd at 1:30. Pete DiNardo, who's a retired school teacher at Mount Lebanon and a volunteer at the Mount Lebanon Historical Society, will be the speaker. The topic's going to be the Berlin Airlift. And you can find a lot of this information on our website, www.visualhistory.org. Lots of information there, lots of nice pictures. Our February newsletter is going to be going out tomorrow in the mail and via emails if people provide them. There's also a couple copies of the newsletter on the table over there. That's about it, and I wanted to thank Joe again, Joe Cower, for always publishing what we have going on at the History Center on the sign. And please stop in. We get donations, memorabilia and stuff to archive almost every day. Very interesting, very interesting. Thank you.
Any questions for Linda? Thank you, Linda. Bridgeville Library, Aaron.
We have my report. The only thing I have to add to that is right now we have a month-long art exhibit going on at the library. A library patron and resident, Tim Anderson, he is displaying a collection of botanical cyanotype ferns. It's really interesting. I encourage everyone to stop by and take a look. It'll be there through the end of the month.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Parking Authority, Deb.
I'm multitasking, I'm listening to the meeting in this year, and the meeting in this year. Okay, we have our meeting next Monday night here at 7 o'clock, our parking authority. The remaining 2 lights that are needed in Lot 1, which is the PNC lot, will be ordered and installed in 2025, and then an entire lot will be nice and bright LED. All of the LED lights in Lot 2, which is Burb's lot, have been replaced. That project is completed. Also in Lot 2, the asphalt cold patching repairs have been completed. Can't do anything but cold patch due to the weather. And also in Lot 2, we're going to move one of the handicap spaces from the back of the area into the front where we removed that damaged curb. So it's closer for like birds and all that to have a handicap spot. So we're not losing one or gaining one, we're just switching things out. Also, we're going to put 3 5-minute parking pickup spots in front of the area of Lot 2 to accommodate the restaurant's takeout business. So that they can stop like 5 minutes, pick up their sandwich and go. And it's going to be strictly enforced with a significant fine amount that is yet to be determined, and we're having an additional discussion on that in February's meeting. We are currently working on it, but I know we've now completed it and submitted our article for the annual newsletter to the borough. And last but most importantly, the BBTA continues to operate in the black.
Any questions for Deb? Thanks, Deb. And last but not least, Mr. Carr. Oh, I'm sorry, Planning Commission. Did I do that last one too?
Yeah, you did.
Planning Commission.
I'm gonna have to get like a light up hat or something.
Something, or I'm just so excited to hear what Joe has to say.
So we've got Earth Day cleanup, the community cleanup scheduled for Saturday, April 22nd, and I think Joe already has that on the borough volunteer sign-up calendar. Last month, we had the project kickoff for the downtown zoning district update. So we're looking at, to see if it makes sense to have a separate zoning district for downtown Bridgeville. That project is expected to take about 6 months. We're working with Mackin on that. And there will be some surveys and public meetings coming out as part of that project. Our February Planning Commission meeting will start at 6 p.m. because we're having another project meeting for that at the beginning. The pollinator garden project on Baldwin Street is moving along. We're expecting to plant around mid-May. We've been working, Justine and I have been working with Joe on when we might need some assistance from Public Works. We want to get down there and lay out what the lot's going to look like. We've had a great response for the request for volunteers. We have a really big list of volunteers, so we're pretty excited about getting some communications out to the volunteers and letting everybody know what's happening with that project. And PennDOT was asked to study Chartiers Street for a crosswalk over to Chartiers Park, so they're looking at that. A study has to be done because they would have to lower the speed limit on Chartiers to 25 for that type of crosswalk.
Any questions on Planning Commission? Okay. Now it's Joe Carr.
Thanks. I wanted to present our year-end report. The old cliche, it takes a village, and this is kind of a snapshot of it. So I want to go through a couple things. It won't take very long, but I wanted everyone to realize what we accomplished within just 12 months as a community together. So our 2024 year-end report, start with general government, finance, and administration. Last year, we secured $1.1 million in grants for capital projects that really allowed us to stretch the municipal budget. We were recognized for the 5th consecutive year as a banner community by Allegheny County League of Municipalities. This essentially spotlights good government practices. A lot of the conversation we had here tonight, we partnered with Public Art Bridgeville to host the 3rd annual outdoor sculpture exhibition that's been well received throughout the town. Funded by a DEP grant, we provided all households in the borough with a new 32-gallon recycling cart. We ended the year with a surplus that allowed us to maintain a fund balance and dedicate funding for future capital projects and, heaven forbid, another disaster or emergency. We went into 2025 with a balanced spending plan that enabled an 8th year without a tax increase. Uniquely last year, we were able to use the proceeds from Day on the Avenue and donate it to the library during the library month, which enabled them to secure additional matching donations for that contribution. We supported the Historical Society by a unique program where we gave them all our old street name signs that they were able to sell as a fundraiser for the Historical Society that netted them about $2,500. We successfully hosted 2 household hazardous waste and electronic collection events last year. Some public works and infrastructure improvements in town. Our 2025 road program, or 24 road program, was pretty big for a town our size. We resurfaced Center Street, Osceola Drive, Universal Street, Gilmore Street, Darby Way, Schulte Street, Irwin Way, the bottom of Bank Street extension, and then the Public Works crew did an alley up behind May Avenue. We made extensive repairs to the sanitary sewer fund. On the agenda was the payment that wrapped up the pipelining project, and that was a $360,000 project that did over 5,000 linear feet of sanitary sewers. We also did a large sewer improvement project on Center Street where we replaced a section of problematic sanitary sewer that improved service to 7 homes. We made significant investments in the storm sewer system. We had capital projects that were contracted out on Station Street and McLaughlin Road, and the Public Works crew did dozens upon dozens of catch basins on multiple streets around town. We upgraded the borough building, the front garage door here on the Sallyport, and then following recommendations from a PennDOT traffic engineer, we did some restriping of Presley Road, Parrott, and Charlotte Street. A big project that we completed last year was the Warner Street landslide, a slope mitigation retaining wall project. As you see, it constructed a very large retaining wall, resurfaced the street, put a fencing, guardrail, storm sewer improvements, and as a nice kind of feather in the borough's hat, that project was 100% grant funded. We received a $500,000 gaming grant, and then the other half of that project was paid for out of the borough's American Rescue Act, our ARPA funds. You always hear that in the news, the ARPA funds, and the borough's ARPA funds paid for the Warner Street project here. Part of the comprehensive plan was downtown wayfinding. We implemented the first phase of downtown wayfinding, which improved signage also for the public parking lots. We purchased a new Public Works dump truck, utility truck, and brush and leaf collection equipment. Some public safety highlights for last year. So this was a big advance for us. We hired a 9th full-time police officer, which will reduce our reliance on part-time officers. In the past, our schedule was reliant on part-time officers filling shifts. Now we have 9 full-time police officers that are community-oriented and know the community, and we don't have that turnover. We provided additional funding to the fire company to upgrade their SCBA's. That's what the chief was talking about. Some call volumes, as you heard, the fire department responded 413, the EMS was 1,270 calls in the borough, and the police department responded to 7,403 service requests in 2024. Flood mitigation continues to be advanced. As Councilman Cimaroli mentioned, in 2024, we secured all the necessary easements from the property owners along limits of Phase 1 and all the permits from the Army Corps and the DEP for its construction. We experienced 2 significant flooding events last April, which caused damage to Chartiers Park and parts of Baldwin Street, which led to extensive cleanup efforts by the borough and mainly volunteers from the Athletic Association and the citizens that rolled up their sleeves to help get the park back. And it was, as we all know, is that the floods were a week apart, so once we were cleaned up from one, the next flood happened. So that's where, like, it was pretty impressive that we all came together and was able to do that. And then we continue to remove sedimentation, you know, from the ball field, the culverts, and the confluences, and that work continues. And it's really making a positive impact. Some parks and recreation highlights from 2024. We completed construction of the new playground at McLaughlin Orange Park. That project was funded half by a DCNR, Department of Conservation Natural Resources grant. And then through another DCNR grant, we reconstructed the basketball court at Cook School and incorporated a pickleball court into it. As everyone knows, the community has a really nice program of community events. The borough plays an active role in that. We partnered with the DCNR, the Rotary Club, and the Lions Club to transform the McLaughlin Run ball field, we call it ball field, into a passive wildflower meadow that was planted late last fall. So hopefully we'll see the fruits of that this spring. And then going on to what Mr. Maroli was mentioned earlier was that we did 2 tree plantings last year where we had they were very well attended by the citizens, and it made it a really fun morning both times. Where we planted, probably 17 trees at Cook School Park and some areas in the spring, and then another dozen trees in the fall, in right-of-ways and public lots. So I refer to them as public lots in the fall, and we hope to continue that next year. Some planning and code enforcement highlights. We adopted our new comprehensive plan. It's a big effort for the borough. That project was again funded half by a state grant, and it updated our 2005 comprehensive plan. And the Planning Commission has been very diligent where they have regularly implementation discussion on their agenda so that that plan becomes a guiding document and isn't something that just sits on a bookshelf. We also implemented several recommendations of the 2022 Active Transportation Plan that the engineer even referenced tonight, that will be starting construction later this month, including the Gregg Avenue steps. Code enforcement, there was 188 property maintenance and zoning violation notices issued and 67 building permits issued. We partnered with Upper St. Clair to advance an engineering study for a potential roundabout at Bank Street, Mayview, Pleasant, and Chartier Street, and that continues, and we should have that report, I'm hoping, within the next month on what that suggests. And then there was new construction at 372 Commercial Street with the new office building and warehouse that back behind the firehouse for Calco Roofing. They were issued their occupancy permit last week, so they're going to be opening for business soon, and we'll be working with the engineer and the solicitor to reduce or release their bond probably within the next month as well. So just a couple highlights that 2024 was a pretty awesome year for the community, and we have a very impressive team here that works together from the community aspect, the staff, to the officials, and I just wanted to thank you all and give just a little snapshot of what we did last year, because when you have each month's agenda, you kind of forget what you did last quarter, and then when you take a snapshot and look back, it was a pretty impressive year, and I think it's going to be a catalyst for that efforts to continue into 2025. And if I have any questions, I'd be more than happy to.
Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
In order to release that bond for that property on Commercial Street, do you look at the landscaping and what there was supposed to put in?
Yes, that's the whole purpose of that bond, is the stormwater improvements.
Okay, all right. Because I thought we had more landscaping than what I saw about a month ago, so.
We'll take a look.
Okay.
Well, I personally would like to thank you, Joe, for your leadership and getting all of those things done, because if it wasn't for you, a lot of that money would not have been there and would not have been done. So congratulations to you too.
No, that's a team.
Before we adjourn, I have 2 things I'd like to tell you. The Rotary Trivia Night has been set April 12th. If you're interested, the tables are going very fast. It's been a very fun evening, 5th year of us doing it. It is April 12th, and last month I had mentioned the Rotary Comfort Bags. We put it on social media, made announcements here, we've done it in a lot of different things. It's amazing how this community pulls together. I've received some donations from the mayor and Dale Livingston and now Miss Crowell. It's amazing how much was dropped off here at the borough, just of different things. Tomorrow, we have a meeting just to figure out, all right, what do we need out of these bags and what else could we put in them? Because now we have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of different things. So our intentions are hopefully to give those bags next month. So, and then hopefully we'll be able to replace them as we go. So Rotary is very proud of that because we had reserved some of our money to be able to contribute, and we haven't been able to contribute yet because we've gotten so many donations from the community. So I wanted to just say thank you for that. Does anybody have any other new business?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Bruce? Second. And Jason, you're adjourned. Thank you.